Hi, in this presentation we will be looking at Moodle's recycle bin for course and course activities. But before we start, if this video proves to be useful and informative, please don't forget to like it. Moodle's recycle bin was introduced in Moodle 3.1 and there's a link below to watch the video that came with the release, and it was initially funded by the Moodle Users Association, a group of about 150 or so institutional and individual members. Apart from other things they do, fund some of the Moodle core developments. You can check them out by looking at the link in the description below. So now let's look at the settings for the recycle bin. So to get to the recycle bin, we go to the site administration, we go to plugins. It's an admin tool and we can go into the settings page. Now there's various options here, not a very big settings page. You have two bits to the recycle bin. You've got the course recycle bin and the category recycle bin. It's a little bit confusing because the course recycle bin is about the course content, so the course modules, whereas the category recycle bin is about actually recycling full courses. So it's a little bit confusing there. But anyway, you can choose to have either or both the course and the category recycle bin enabled, and you also can set different lifetimes for each of the recycle bins. So in this case we have 1 week for both of them. That is when the actual courses or the course modules that are in the recycle bin will be actually deleted completely. The auto hide option is there so that if the bin is empty, you don't get a link to it. The recycle bin also, unfortunately, relies on the Moodle backup functionality, specifically the auto backup functionality to work. We will come back to this same subject a little later on. So these settings can be found by going to courses, looking down at the backups, and the first bit is the automated backup setup. So even though you can have your automated backups disabled, you still need to go and make sure that these settings that I'm going to discuss are on. So the first one really is to ensure that the activities get backed up. So you need to have this on. It's on by default, as you can see there. But so that has to be on. And then if you want to save user data, you will also need to ensure that backup auto users is also enabled. Now the flip side of that is to ensure that you can have the data restored. So you have to look at the restore settings. So if I just go back and go to the general restore defaults, the other thing that you need to make sure is set is restore general users if you want user data to be restored as well. So with those two settings, the backup settings and your recycle bin settings, then you've got yourself set up so that the functionality actually works. So now let's have a look at the code. So the recycle bin is a tool. It's an admin tool, as we've seen earlier. So we go into admin tool and go to recycle bin, and in there we have our sort of standard folders and files generally for a plugin. Admin tool is a plugin. So let's have a quick look through the files and then we'll discuss some of them that are relevant when you're working with the recycle bin as a developer. So we'll start with classes. So if we open the classes subfolder, we have event, which is all the events that the plugin will raise. So we have 6 events defined. The category bin, item created, deleted, restored, and the same for the course. So we have 6 events. We've got the privacy folder, which is kind of standard. We've also got a task folder in there, and we have 2 tasks defined. We have the cleanup category and the cleanup course. So these are the 2 tasks that will actually do the cleanup of the recycle bin on a scheduled or ad hoc basis. Then we've got the three other files, the class files, the base class file and the two extended classes, which we'll come back and have a look at in a little while. So in our DB folder, we have our access PHP that sets out our capabilities, and our install XML, which is our database tables, which we'll look at. And then we've got our tasks PHP, which relates to the tasks that we talked about earlier. So if we look at our access PHP, we have three capabilities defined. So we've got delete items, restore items, and a view items capabilities, and they are all by default allowed for editing teacher and manager, with an additional teacher default for the view items. Then if we look at our install XML, we look at the tables that the tool uses. We've got a tool recycle bin course, so stores the course stuff, and the tool recycle bin category. So going back to what I said earlier, you can see there we have a course ID, section, and module. So this stores the deleted modules in the recycle bin, information about it, and the category table actually stores the information about the course that's been deleted. So moving on, we've got our language folder with the standard English language strings in there. We have a pics folder with the icons for the plugin, and the test folder for automated tests. There are several other files in there. We've got index, lib, settings, and version. We've looked at the settings through the user interface, so we won't touch on that. Version really not important for us at this moment in time. So we have two other files we want to look at, libphp and index.php. The libphp file is basically the link between the core Moodle functionality and the plugin itself, the recycle bin tool. Okay, so if I open up my outline here, you can see the methods that, or the functions that have been defined in the file, and the ones that are of most interest to us is the extension of the navigation, which gives us the links to actually call the tool, one to extend the course navigation and one to extend the category navigation. And then there's other hooks such as the pre-course module delete, so the plugin being called before a course module is deleted. And the index PHP is the workhorse of the plugin, and this is where the actual recycling happens via the classes. So we have coming through a required parameter called context ID that's required, and then we have an optional parameter action that can be passed to the script. I'll jump some bits here, but basically based on the context level, context course or context course category, that will depend on which class then gets loaded. So in this case of the context course bin the extended class is loaded, and that becomes our recycle bin variable. And in the case of course category, we basically load the category bin extended class. So the down here is a check to make sure that the bin is enabled, but we will jump all the other stuff and look at action. So there are three actions that this file will deal with. The actions are restore, delete, and empty. So empty will delete all the items in that particular recycle bin. Delete will delete a specific item, so it could be a course or a course module depending on which class has been loaded, and the same for restore. So the relevant functions are called in the particular loaded class: restore item, delete item, etc. Right, and then the rest of this file is about the UI. So let's go and have a look at the defined classes. So we have our base bin. I'm going to close all the other files so that we don't get confused. So our base bin, which defines the methods that are required for this extended classes. So if we look through here, I've opened my outline. We've got stuff like is enabled, get items, etc. The things that are of interest to us as developers at the moment would be the store item, the restore item, and delete item, which are all abstract functions and therefore expected to be defined in the extended classes. So our extended classes, we have our category bin and our course bin. And if we go back to our category bin there, we can look at these particular functions. So here we go, we've got the store item. So store item is where the item is put into the recycle bin. So looking into the store item, we notice that there is a lot of commentary here in the function, and the same is in the course bin. We have the same thing, store item. We have this commentary, and this commentary relates to the connection between the recycle bin and the Moodle backup. And basically what is happening, there's a little bit of a hack being used to actually use the automated backup functionality to actually do the recycle bin backup. You can see here it says to do, remove this as part of a particular tracker item. Let's have a look at the tracker item. So this is the tracker item in the Moodle tracker. You have to log in to be able to look at tickets in the tracker. And this is the tracker. So the title of it is to create a new backup mode recycle bin. And basically this is work that needs to be done in the backup functionality to support the recycle bin. And as you can see, it seems to have been raised at version 3.7 and continues to be unresolved. So one thing is likely to happen is that this at some point in the future will happen, and then there will be a change. There's possibly going to be a change with the functionality around the recycle bin. It may not change from the user's point of view. It might not even change from the developer's point of view if you're a plugin relying on the recycle bin, but it is likely to change, obviously, for the backup and recycle code itself. So that's worth bearing in mind if you do kind of rely or expect certain things to happen with recycle bin in your code or in your functionality that you're developing in your plugin. So let's go back to our code. So I'm still in the course bin here, and you can see what is happening is we're using the force plugin settings to set some parameters for the automated backup. And then here we have the functionality being called to do the actual backup. So basically they're creating a backup item for the activity. In this case, in the categories case, it would be for a course. And if we go to restore item, this is now putting back taking the backup and restoring it into the Moodle instance. And we have our restore controller being called to restore the course or the module. And then the other function we were interested in is the delete item. This is where the recycle bin is emptied and called by the tasks or tasks. And you can see it's deleting the backup file as well. So I think that's all we need to really cover as developers, plugin developers, to understand the recycle bin. Now you might be asking why I even bothered, since it's kind of in the background, but it is relevant if you happen to be creating a plugin that deals with the deletion of activities, modules, and courses. For example, you could be developing a plugin that deletes courses, but you don't want the courses to end up in the recycle bin for some reason or another. If you happen to be developing a course module, knowing that if you do not support Moodle backup functionality in your plugin, then your module activities won't be able to be restored if deleted. So for more information, there is a link in the description to the relevant Moodle documentation. It points to the Moodle 4.1 documentation, but you can change the version in the link to the version that you want to be dealing with. There's, to be fair, not a lot of difference between the versions, particularly the closer you are to sort of Moodle 4.1. And I'd like to thank you for watching. If this video has been useful and informative, please don't forget to like it. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to this channel for more useful content in the future. If you are so inclined, click the bell notification to be informed when we upload new content. Thank you.